45,000 Swedes. And on a Sunday night, they had a Reverend Hultman that used to get up there and the balconies were filled. And they had a Gunnar Forsland that used to get up there with a child prodigy and play the piano with him.
I can remember Pastor Erickson, because he was the first pastor that I remember. And like I said, I was friendly with Dorothy. And of course, he was very strict. And of course, like you say, you couldn't go to movies, and you couldn't dance, and you couldn't play cards. And every Saturday, I would walk. Our house, it was fairly close to the parsonage, but it was a little walk. And I'd walk halfway, and Dorothy would walk halfway, and we'd meet. And we'd go to the art museum, and we'd watch Charlie Chaplin. Now, that was okay to see. But he was very nice. He was kind and a nice man, and I liked him a lot. But you know, he was very strict.
I think that the movies and the dancing and the cards were not only attributed to the pastors. It came from before, because the people that belonged to the church way back. Now, my grandfather and Isabel's grandfather. That era was before Franz Erickson. Partly, and that was the establishment. The church just didn't, in general, go along that. That didn't mean I agreed with that, because I know over the years, you know, you'd hear, like you say, they'd go here, they'd go there, and my mom used to say, it's not the dancing, it's the closeness.
My brother Jack and his son Billy were real good friends, and there was still no movies, but on Saturday afternoons, Pastor Osberg would take the two of them to Boston to see movies. I don't know how many remember the time Reverend Osberg was up there preaching, and a lot of people used to whisper and talk. And one time he got so mad, he just walked off the platform and left us all sitting there.
I'll never forget that.
Never came back.
You bring up the different pastors is one thing that I remember about one of the pastors, and a lot of people here will remember it, Reverend Weens. His prayers were longer than his sermons. You remember that? He'd pray for 20 minutes.
I remember when he was praying, was it Ed Ames came over the mic? It was a beautiful love song. Do you remember that? Yeah. And Millie was a wreck because she thought Gary was up in the balcony with radio. But Pastor Weens said, well, this is the way it is. The world always tries to interrupt.
Now, we were talking about Pastor Weens. He had a lot to do with the design of the church, and I remember meeting with some of the committees. And one thing he wanted was kneelers in the church, which was quite different. But he insisted that they have enough space. So you notice our pews are well spaced. There's room there for kneelers, but the committee didn't go along with that. But he did want kneelers.
always stuck with me was John Nelson's staying between the lines. And it's affected me all my life, but even to park in the car, I have to open the door and look and back out if I'm not between the lines.
I guess one of the advices I can give a child today is loosen up and talk to people. I can remember being 23 and 24, getting married, finally starting to talk to people. But it is so important for us to talk to them and them to talk to us. Don't walk by and they say, huh, you're who? That's what's happened quite a bit. They don't even know my first name. I wish they did.
What would you like to tell kids today about your faith in God?
There's nothing else.
I never should leave the church. I never left it. And actually, I suppose one of these days I'll be buried from the church.